Welcome to a fight night that concentrates on 4 area champions. Topping tonight's bill at the Barnsley Civic Hall is one of the real crowd pleasers, Kostas Petrou, the Midlands area welterweight champion. Petrou, born in Liverpool but now based in Birmingham, meets Paul Mitchell of Leeds, the Central area champion, but at a different weight, at light middle. Petrou, known as the Greek Tank, has only lost 1 of his last 17 contests, and he is the official contender now for the British title, so he knows what he's got to do here.
I'm going to try to really impress, so that's... I know Sylvester Mitty's amongst there, and he's come to watch me, so Sylvester Mitty knows who's going to be the next British champion, otherwise he wouldn't have bothered to come here. So I'm going to show him, and I'll be ready for him anyway.
Petrou's performance in just a moment. Later in the programme, we also have the meeting of 2 light heavyweight champions, Ian Lazarus of Leeds against Antonio Harris of Birmingham. But it's Petrou against Mitchell as we join our commentators at ringside, the former lightweight champion of the world, Jim Watt, and with him as usual, Reg Gutteridge.
So there's the rundown then. Kostas Petrou, the Greek Tank, born in Liverpool but virtually fight-based and brought up in Birmingham. And always in colourful fights that we've seen along the line, and as you can see, he got a good record. He actually started off with a loss, so it needs a bit of spirit really to come back from that and to become the area champion. Paul Mitchell then comes out of Leeds, virtually a local fighter really, from as we're in Barnsley, just up the road, and scheduled for 10 rounds this welterweight scrap. So now let's see whether the nickname Greek Tank Kostas Petrou is going to really march forward. It's been exciting fights lately, but Paul Mitchell knows his business. In terms of record, ages, weights, there's very little between them actually. Petrou at 25 is just a year older. And Petrou won his way through the eliminators now to be in a position to challenge Lloyd Hannigan, and he's got more than a possible opponent at ringside tonight, actually as guest of honour, Sylvester Mitty, the new Commonwealth champion at welterweight. Paul Mitchell just come into the winning frame, as they say. Won his last fight against Wayne Crowler in Manchester and previously lost 3 in a row. Well, the best win, I thought, was when he defeated Martin Patrick on points in London, who's now the Southern Area champion. I wouldn't have thought a really hard hitter at the welterweight limit, but very capable. Jim, what we've seen Kostas Petrou quite a bit is he gives value for money, as the old-fashioned promoters used to say.
He always gives value for money, yeah. The last time I saw him box was against Lloyd Christie. He won that night. But I thought a couple of times he was a bit hesitant, but he's starting pretty positively tonight.
Yes, he went down against Christie, but got back and won. That's Lloyd, of course, and not Errol. Right back in his amateur days, I was a win on his card that impressed me when he outpointed Chris Pyatt. So a minute to go in the opening round then. There's plenty of body to hit there with Petrou. He looks as though he can get underneath those long arms of Mitchell and just tuck himself inside. Sometimes a slow starter. Originally, it was Jeff Pegler that was going to fight Petrou, but without knowing the result, obviously, at this stage, I would have thought Mitchell was probably a better opponent, because Pegler had lost a few fights. Flicks that out well, Jim.
Yeah, he gets a nice bit of distance onto his jab. He steps forward, steps in with the jab. But Petrou started well. He's keeping nice and tight. He's drawing the lead and throwing some nice counters.
So we're into the last 10 seconds then on the countdown clock there. So just some advice from the crowd, make those jabs count, Paul. So Kostas Petrou there, with the very enthusiastic manager there is Pat Lynch from Birmingham. 4th round. And really Kostas Petrou from Birmingham in a position now where he just cannot afford to lose decisions. Because if he's going to get a championship shot, the Board of Control can always mark time with the contender if he loses an overweight contest. Got to shift 4 pounds Petrou when he does fight for the championship. Some good punches there, though. Oh, yes, opening up well there. He tumbled that Mitchell had a reasonably good end to the last round, and he wants to come in and take the play away right at the start of this one. Petrou really sustained this aggressiveness, Jim, he really would be a difficult fighter to hold, wouldn't he?
Well, he's putting punches together very well tonight. He's putting punches together a lot better than Mitchell is. So I think Mitchell will be well advised to try and keep the fight at long range. He's managing to do that at the moment, but not with any effective punches, just simply by being shifty in his feet. As soon as Petrou gets inside, he's letting some nice punches go.
Mitchell just marked a little bit around the left eye. Sort of right-hand punch we saw then may have caused that. Petrou's style might be predictable, but it's also pretty effective.
Yeah, he's not really doing too much wrong. We can't fault him for getting caught with a jab as he comes in, because Mitchell has a pretty fair jab, and he does come in straight head on. But once he gets in, he's doing some nice work.
So Mitchell absorbs a fair punch, although I understand Blaine Longton, who's a full middleweight, had him over. But against welterweights, I would have thought by the look of it, he takes a good shot.
Well, I've been looking at his eyes closely a couple of times. Petrou's landed cleanly, and he hasn't been shaken at all. He's obviously in pretty good shape, and he seems to take a good punch in the chin.
Well, good exchange then with hooks. And he's very wide-eyed, isn't he, Mitchell? He really opens it wide, making sure he misses nothing, rather like a cat prowling, looking for the prey there. So almost got the garden spray there, they keep the pest away, but in fact it's the modern way of putting the sponge on, you know. I don't think Terry Loyalist was quite as efficient as that. He threw the old water all over it. Let's have a look at the replay there, Jim. Early in the round, this was. There it is.
Yeah, well, Petrou's all the way through, Petrou's landing good punches, and he's always pushing Mitchell back whenever he can. And he's putting some nice stuff behind the elbows, as you can see here. Petrou's boxing well. Yeah, taking a couple of jabs as he comes in, but that's just his style.
6th round. Just to re-identify then, it's Kostas Petrou in the gold trunks against Paul Mitchell from Leeds. Petrou, Liverpool-born, out of Birmingham. And it really has been typical Greek tank then, Petrou, steaming on, trying to go for Mitchell's body. Mitchell using the ring with a good left-hand jab, but on the sheer volume of punches, Petrou's ahead. Petrou, remember now, first in line for a crack at the welterweight championship held by Lloyd Hunnigan of the Terry Lawless stable. And a more than interested best bib and tucker ringside here is Sylvester Mitty, who only last night became the new Commonwealth champion at this weight. Not much problem with that left eye. It's a kind of graze around the edge of it, Jim Paul Mitchell.
Yeah, I think maybe the inside of the glove has just grazed by his eye and lifted the skin a little bit, but it's not bleeding, it's not actually a cut.
Mitchell must be in fair shape. He's taking some stick around the ribs without buckling.
He's in good shape, yeah. He must be in good shape because he's always ready to fire back. He's always been having the worst of things, but he's always ready to try and fire back.
He has these little spurts of being certainly the better boxer of the two, but he doesn't manage to keep it up or perhaps punch hard enough to keep Petrou off. And now, in fact, it is bleeding. Mitchell's left eye. It's strange we should say that, but that's the first actual sign of the drop of blood anyway. It's quite minor.
It actually looks in a slightly different place from the graze. I think it's a fresh cut, actually, Reg.
Minute to go in round 6. Has that happened? Yes, I think you're right. It is in a different position. Wherever it is, it's not too healthy for you, young Mitchell. A little bit of desperation in Mitchell's boxing. He's obviously aware now that he's got a bit of the trouble around the left eye. Not that the seconds probably won't be able to patch that up very quickly, but it must distress a boxer a bit when he's not in front anyway. But I like the way he sneaks the left-hand punches, just the same. So there it is, the countdown clock to the end of the 6th. So let's have a word again then with Sylvester Mitty at ringside.
Sylvester, would you fancy fighting Petrou?
Yes, I would. Kostas, he's proving to be one of the danger men of the division. And at the moment, I've just won my Commonwealth title. And we'll be thinking about defending it against somebody worthy, someone like Kostas Petrou. And I'm looking forward to the encounter with relish.
What do you think of this fight so far?
Well, I think Kostas is fighting the right fight with Mitchell. He's putting a lot of sustained pressure, and it seems to be paying dividends. Now, it also appears that Mitchell have got a nick on his eye, although it's only seeping blood now. So Kostas could possibly exploit the situation and really go for it.
9th round. And the pattern resumes. The forward roll by the tank there, Petrou. Sort of sharper type of boxing coming from Mitchell, but probably not landing enough punches. Obviously Mitchell trying to do really well for one of the first television showings in his own area. Well, Petrou trying to turn it on in the last couple of rounds, obviously. Why Mitchell's really hesitating, Jim. He knows exactly what's going to happen with this fellow. He's not going to run back.
He's in a difficult situation. He's well behind in points, and I don't think he feels he has the power to knock Petrou out. He's maybe just hoping to see the rounds through, put up a good show, which he's certainly doing.
And we're halfway through the 9th then. Not a bad punch there by Petrou, really. Instead of storming in and throwing anything, he was trying to pick a punch or two. He's got one or two wags in the crowd. Very easy to do that when on the safe side of the ropes. The referee really hasn't had much trouble. He said break clean, boys, there, but he really hasn't had any trouble at all with them. It's been a good clean fight. Very little holding, Jim.
The referee's never been seen throughout the fight. It's been a real good fight. And when they're inside, they're clinching all the time. No clinching at all. Yeah, the referee's making his money easy tonight.
Water spray going in there. The Russians and the amateurs actually brought in the electric fan, well actually a battery operated fans in the corner to cool their man down. Let's have a look at some replay, Jim, at the beginning of this round there. This is where he was really trying to pile in Petrou. There you almost better duck out the way before you get caught with them. Well, they patched this lad up okay. Considering he's been on the receiving end of it, he doesn't look too bad at all. It's just that mark around the left eye. And you're wondering whether he'll come out and throw it all in this last round and take his chances.
Seconds out. Last round.
Final round then, the formal shake hands. And a decent bit of applause from the Yorkshire crowd as well. Encouraging these lads. It's always good to see that. Kostas Petrou, as I said earlier, just cannot afford to lose a contest at this stage now because he's really on the brink of the title chance. And Sylvester Mitty saying, well, if things go as planned, who knows? Petrou might actually get his shot at him. Minute gone then in the last. Actually, Petrou would prefer somebody that's going to come at him with a similar style, Jim. This fella's a little bit cagey.
Well, Mitchell knows he's well behind in points. He's losing the fight. He just doesn't see any point taking chances. That was a good left hook from Petrou there. That's the first time I've seen him shaking Mitchell. That was a good punch.
Yeah, really noticed there. So we're into the last minute now, this 10-rounder. With the forward march from start to finish from Kostas Petrou. Mitchell's certainly never been a runaway fighter, but his style dictates that that's how he does it, off the back foot a bit. The old-fashioned milling on the retreat, but not enough of it. So about 15 seconds to go, and if there is a knockdown in the last 10, of course the bell would interrupt the count because it's being the last round. And a bit of a survival job there by Paul Mitchell. And the winner, of course, Kostas Petrou from Birmingham. What he would describe, I'm sure, as a kind of workmanlike victory, and one that keeps him in there with chances against Lloyd Honeyghan, and a sporting clap there for his opponent. And there it is, the update record now, another win for Kostas Petrou.
Well, I thought he won easier than that, but that was the referee's decision, a little bit surprising. Kostas Petrou's next bout will be for the British title. Well, now let's